I really hope that using a step stool does not qualify as exalting myself. This sermon today is a collaboration of sorts. Pastor Charlotte wrote it, and when it became clear that she would not be able to preach it herself, invited me to make it my own, which I have done, added my own twists, though the structure and much of the content remains Charlotte's. Now, would you pray with me? Lord, you bring us into community, that our gifts may combine for the blessing of all humanity. Send your Spirit to move us to justice and help us in the work of your reconciling love poured out for the world. Now may the words of my mouth and the meditation of all our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Fake it till you make it. You've probably heard this expression. It tends to be used when someone is so anxious to achieve a goal that they pretend to have real confidence and skills, when in fact they might be absolutely terrified. By faking it for a while, they hope that fake confidence will become real. They hope that they will succeed. When starting a new job, a person might fake it in the workplace. Newcomers to Alcoholics Anonymous are often adopting the philosophy as a way of adapting to the challenges of the 12-step program. Someone who wants to go on a date might fake self-confidence to ask out their crush, and if accepted, they hope that real confidence will follow as the relationship develops. A certain amount of faking it until you make it is part of every person's life. Speaking from experience, many people can only become a good speaker by getting in front of a mic and faking it for a while. You can't really become part of a new school or a church or a business until you throw yourself into the middle of that and hope that you figure it out. Musicians know never to react when they make a mistake, because oftentimes no one will know a mistake was made unless they're tipped off by a gesture or a grimace. However, each of these scenarios assume practice, development, and good intent from the process of faking it to making it. Without these, particularly when there's no intent for the promise of making it to be real, there is danger in faking it. A salesman named Glenn W. Turner told people that to be as wealthy and successful as he was, all they had to do was invest in his multi-level marketing company. He faked it well. At one point, there were 60,000 people in 40 states and Canada working for him. According to the Washington Post, these people would peddle mink oil makeup and Turner's Dare to Be Great motivational tapes. And then the salespeople would collect more money by recruiting other people and taking a percentage of their sales. When salespeople struggled to move up in the world, they were told, "Fake it till you make it," by wearing expensive clothing and waving around $100 bills to lure people in. Turner's employees sold on these lies, faked it, but they never made it. Prosecutors in more than 30 states went after Turner's company. One judge said the phrase, "fake it till you make it," was evidence of malfeasance, proving Turner's bad intentions. And in 1987, Turner was convicted of running a Ponzi scheme. There is no faking it with the law. Still, the fake it approach is found in many modern business ventures, especially Silicon Valley startups and cryptocurrency, and all too often, ones with bad intentions. Think of Elizabeth Holmes of Theranos, or Sam Bankman-Fried of the cryptocurrency FTX, George Santos of the House of Representatives. All three faked it for a while, faked it well, for a time. Fake it until you make it often pops up in what economics columnist Helene Olin calls the scrappy, optimistic mindset of American hustle culture. And in the good-intentioned versions of these, it can be a great thing. But in the worst form of the hustle, it doesn't matter if you deliver on your promises, just your own success. The people buying into schemes end up as pawns to be used. In a functional society, this is unsustainable. Helene Olin notes that we need to find a way to once again prioritize and reward diligent, honest effort, not fake success that leads to disaster. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus denounces the scribes and Pharisees for not practicing what they teach. Like Glenn Turner, who sold shares in his Ponzi scheme for $5,000 each, the scribes and Pharisees tie up heavy burdens, hard to bear, and lay them on the shoulders of others. Like Elizabeth Holmes, who claimed that her company had revolutionized blood testing, they do all their deeds to be seen by others. Like Sam Bankman-Fried, who was said to be worth $26 billion, and who made contributions to both political parties, they love to have the place of honor at banquets and the best seats in the synagogues, and to be greeted with respect in the marketplaces. The scribes and Pharisees say all the right things, but do not do them. According to Jesus, they are hypocrites, frauds, fakes. Call no one your father on earth, says Jesus, for you have one Father, the one in heaven. Nor are you to be called instructors, for you have one instructor, the Messiah. Jesus wants us to be wary of anyone who claims to be a parent or an instructor to us, whether they are in the world of business, research, politics, or finance. Instead, we should focus on our Father in heaven and our instructor, Jesus Christ. They are the ones who can show us how to make it without faking it. Unfortunately, we are always looking for earthly saviors. We get excited when outsiders come into politics, whether it's from the left or the right, claiming that only they can save us. We tend to be suckers for business leaders who promise to make us successful, whether it's through mink oil makeup, biotech, or cryptocurrency. We find it very hard to resist a charismatic leader who promises we can get rich quick without putting in honest, diligent effort over a long period of time. Jesus is fully human. He understands the attraction of false messiahs. He knows that we are more than willing to fake it till we make it as we try to move up in the world. So Jesus turns our expectations upside down. saying, "The greatest among you will be your servant, and all who exalt themselves will be humbled, and all who humble themselves will be exalted." All who exalt themselves will be humbled. That has certainly been the fate of Glenn Turner, Elizabeth Holmes, Sam Bankman-Fried, and George Santos. All who humble themselves will be exalted. That is what we see when a person dares to be a servant leader, putting the needs of others ahead of their own desires. In the upside-down world of the kingdom of God, the greatest of us will move up by moving down. We do not succeed by serving ourselves. We succeed by being servants to others. A life of service requires diligent, honest effort. There is no faking it with God. Now, the scribes and Pharisees were not evil people, nor are most leaders in business, technology, and finance today. The Pharisees, in particular, were not enemies of Jesus. Scholars such as Amy Jill Levine have discovered that the Pharisees were forward-thinking innovators who helped make the Jewish tradition more adaptable to changing circumstances. They made bad choices in pursuit of their own success, but they were still religious siblings of Jesus, as are we. Jesus did not hate the scribes and Pharisees. He did hold them accountable. He criticized their hypocrisy, saying, "You are like whitewashed tombs, which on the outside look beautiful, but inside they are full of the bones of the dead and of all kinds of filth. So you also look on the outside righteous to others, but inside you are full of hypocrisy and lawlessness." Jesus challenges people to be righteous both inside and out, instead of clean outside and filthy inside. He wants us all to be people of integrity, not fakers. Jesus underscores the value of honesty in our actions and our interactions, and the importance of being true to ourselves and to others. There is no faking it with Jesus. The Baptist minister and author Will Campbell was also a prolific civil rights activist, and both witnessed and participated in many striking moments, no pun intended, in the movement for equal rights. In an interview published in the Journal of Southern Religion, he recounted the story of a group of 3,000 to 5,000 people led by a university student named Diane Nash, marching for desegregation in Nashville, Tennessee. "I have seldom seen such a dramatic thing," Campbell said, "when she stood there and looked the mayor in the eyes and said, 'Do you think it is right that we can go in that store and buy anything there, but we can't walk 10 feet and get a cup of coffee? Do you think that is right? Do you think it is Christian?' And the mayor started talking. 'Well, my little lady,' Diane said, 'never mind that, Mr. Mayor. Do you think it is Christian?' And he finally said, 'No, I don't.' Campbell says, "When that happened, I knew it was over. I knew that the stores of Nashville would be desegregated." As Christians, our challenge is not to fake it till we make it, till we make it. We are not to lie to others or even to ourselves for the sake of our own privilege or success. Deceit in any form threatens to break down relationships and society. If we distort the meaning of another's words, we bear false witness. To reshape reality by altering facts is treacherous. Saying one thing and doing another is simply hypocritical. Instead, Jesus is calling us to be profoundly truthful. We are to speak the truth and to treat others fairly. If we want to be followers of Jesus in covenant with God, we are to focus on and act in the interests of honesty and justice. When our outward actions align with our internal beliefs, we live with the kind of integrity Jesus wants us to find in life. Not faking it builds strong relationships in our homes, in our congregation, and in our community. They benefit our country. All around us are opportunities to practice the servant leadership to which Jesus calls us. At home, in the workplace, in the streets, and in the voting booth, we can stand for justice, caring deeply about those who are impoverished or oppressed. Jesus always treated people fairly and advocated for their welfare. He worshiped God and focused his ministry on healing, helping, and feeding the most vulnerable people around him. He built a new structure of society to include everyone. Honesty and justice mattered to Jesus, and he practiced these virtues in everything he said and did. Jesus never faked it. He was always his authentic self. There was no difference or distance between what he said and what he believed, what he did and who he was. His commitment to the full truth cost him his life and gained our salvation. As Christians, our challenge is to follow Jesus. We must speak the truth and treat others fairly, call out hypocrisy and bad intentions, find success in service, exalt ourselves not in success but in humility, and seek justice always. There is no faking it with God.